Good afternoon. This is episode 14 of my crafts making podcast, Knitting Not Screaming. Though it has to be said, it's not just knitting. There's a lot of knitting, but I also embroider and I crochet vintage style hairnets. So let's just crack on. If you've visited with me before, thank you very much for coming back. It's very kind of you, and if you're new, I hope you enjoy spending a bit of time with me today. I live down near the south coast of the UK with my partner and our little cat Lulu, who is the best cat in the world. She's just sitting having a little look out the window at the moment. I might even see if I can turn the camera around short just to look. There she is. I hope that's not messed up my camera too much. So let's crack on. I have an Etsy shop called Gin Poodle, and while this isn't specifically a selling channel, gosh, my angles have got all weird now, I am going to show you a couple of things that I've made for my shop along the way. So first off, let me show you what I finished. Now I finished quite a lot of different colour snoods this week. I'm not going to show you them all, don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with that. The classic black, I will show you these every time because I make them constantly. I have to because they're the best seller, that's what people want. And this bamboo green, that's also quite a popular colour, and it's one that I really like. It's got quite a sort of army green feel to it, so it's quite versatile, and I really like that one. And it comes with a nice really dark green ribbon. But I've also, if you are familiar with my snood colours, I've made this week some pale green, some seascape, some sunshine yellow, white ones, and pale green, did I say? So basically I've been working across this row, and today the colour I'll be working on later is this one, this bright emerald green. Oh, my voice went all funny at green. And then next week I'll be all pinks. Apart from there, well, there's a little gap for a vintage yarn I had that sold out. So yeah, this is where I am today. That was one I just showed you, and these are the ones basically that I've made earlier. And this is that emerald green, which is almost impossible to pick up the colour of. It is like quite a bright sort of it's not an apple green, it's a much stronger green than that. That's why I call it an emerald green, because it really is. And on the screen it comes over as being really quite blue, and it's really not. It's got an undertone of blue, but it's not you wouldn't really see blue in it the way you do here. Sorry if you can hear any noise, it's my my cat playing with her ping pong ball, which is her favourite toy. Oh, I don't know why I put things over there. That was very silly of me, because now they're quite hard to reach. So I'm going to just fling those over there, out of the way. So I think I've told, well, I know I've told you, don't be so faux guileless. Smith, I have been making Sophie scarves as a gift. I'm making a collection of them, which I'm calling my croissant collection, because they're all going to be in pastry colours, and I'm going to hand them over to a group of people displayed in like a pastry box, looking like a little collection of, like I'm giving them a box of croissants, which I'm kind of in two minds about, because I kind of feel like, well, if you think you're getting delicious pastries and then you're getting scarves, is that going to be a massive disappointment? I think it's fun, but am I setting myself up for people looking disappointed? I don't know. But I've started now, and I'm too far in, really, to give up on that idea. And anyway, it's a very important part of life, isn't it? Is dealing with disappointment, especially dealing with disappointment in the workplace. So I need to make 8 of them. I mean, technically, I actually only need to make 7, but I think 7 will look odd in the box. I'm going to make an extra one. Well, that's worried. That box is empty, and that's my scale for weighing little bits of yarn to use my Sophie scarves. Right, so I finished 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I finished 5 of them. So some of them I think I've shown you before. There's that one, and that one. This one's very similar to the other one, but this is more of a gingery colour. Do you see? This has got more orange in it, I think. And this is more sort of brown tones. It's got a little touch of orange in it, but not very much. And these are generally made of scraps of sock knitting yarn. This one hasn't been blocked yet. But actually, I think it looks pretty cool when it's not blocked. It looks pretty much okay to me. So this one's going to be like a pan au chocolat, really, because it's mainly, well, it's all just stripes of dark brown and this lighter brown. And the one I finished yesterday is a truly scrappy one. So it starts with, there are actually 2 shades of brown. There's a very dark brown and a dark brown. So it's quite subtle, the stripe at the start, but then it goes into some more of that sort of gingery colour. And then from there, we go into this one, which the scraps of this one. And it stays with that one right till the end. And this one hasn't been blocked either, because I literally only cast it off last night. So that will look quite different, I think, once it's blocked. But I think it's gonna, I quite like the stripy ones. And it will grow quite a lot, because I'm making the larger size, and this is really just going twice around my neck just about comfortably. But my own one that I've got and the ones I have blocked are much more roomy. But I think this one's going to be quite a nice one that you could wear, because you can wear them as like a kind of headscarf thing as well, can't you? You can either have the bow on the top there, do it up there, or equally nicely, I think, is wear them like a wide headband, like an ear warmer type thing, which doesn't really suit me, but you get the idea. So yeah, really pleased with those. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've cast on number 6, and this is using yarn from Earth Yarn, URTH, and that's really nice. So the last 3, I'm going to get 3 out of this, because it uses just about 30 grams, maybe a little bit more. So I've still got some scraps left, so I'll definitely get 2 out of this, and the third one I might need to put some stripes in, but that will be absolutely fine. And I'm still enjoying making them, even though I'm on my 6th Sophie scarf in a row. It's not getting boring yet, because it is quite really simple and mindless, and something you can do literally while you're watching the telly. Hey Pudding, Lulu wants to come and sit down next to us. So yeah, it is something you can literally do while you're watching TV. So it doesn't take up a lot of headspace. And sometimes, I don't know about you, sometimes I just feel like I want to do something that I don't need to think about at all, don't really want to concentrate on. And I've been in a bit of a flat mood over the last few weeks. I think it's because it's not the change of weather, because I like this time of year. This is actually my favourite time of year, but things have all gone a bit quiet. Both well, my Etsy shop's as dead as a dodo at the moment. I don't know why. And my work has been quite quiet as well. So that's not been brilliant, but you know, you just have to make the best of it, don't you? but I think it has kind of, it has, usually I'm someone who's, I'm happy with my own company. I work from home, but I'm happier with Lulu for company, who's now decided to come and sit next to us. Thank you very much. But when things get a bit too quiet, especially with my Etsy shop, because that's a big part of me sort of validating who I am, because it's the, you know, it's validating the creative part of me, isn't it, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense, or if that just sounds like I'm being really silly and pompous, but it does affect my mood quite a lot if the old Etsy shop sales start going quite slow, because then I feel like no one likes what I do, and if no one likes what I do, does that mean all my ideas are rubbish, and does that mean I should stop doing it? Am I wasting my time? But if I didn't do that, then I really would be miserable. So, but it is quite easy to get into that sort of negative loop of thinking, isn't it? But I'm trying to push myself out of that and just think about all the things that I've got that are making my life pretty good. You know, like I've got the mister, I've got my little pretty cat, I have got a nice job, I work with some great and interesting people, and I have got my Etsy shop, and sales will pick up again. It's only 1 month. It's 1 month where things have gone a bit quiet, and I shouldn't, you know, that's overall this year my sales are up by about 7%, which sounds piddly, but in the great scheme of things, that's actually quite a good thing, because of the cost of living crisis and stuff. You would expect sales to really dip this year, and the fact that I've still got even a teeny little bit of growth is I'm very thankful for, and I'm really happy about as well, because that's extraly is not a word, is it? And that makes it kind of extra special to me, really. So let's move on with other things that I have made or am making. You're right, Pudding. She gets fed up with me talking, I think. I mean, don't we all? So, in my whips this week, I'm going to try and find what I've done with that little scale, which was the most useful thing ever, which I've completely lost. I did a free online embroidery class with the Royal School of Needlework just at the beginning of this month, which was really good. It was called Sip and Stitch, and I mean, you didn't have to, but you could, you know, you donate some money to attend, and if you don't want to, if you don't have funds to do that, that's absolutely fine. No one's sort of checking up on you or asking you. I made like a small donation, because, as I say, it's been a very quiet month. A quiet month for me means no income. So, but you just sat with them for like, you could sit with them for like 20 minutes or the whole 2 hours, whatever you wanted to do. It was just on Zoom, and you had a free design to download, and then you stitched it along with them. And it was this lovely little star. It's nice, isn't it? I'm not using a needle minder because I'm a bad person. So yeah, this little star design, and if you go to the Royal School of Needlework website, all this design is on there, and we just used like really simple, like running stitches, chain stitch, a stem stitch. I did like a coral stitch here. There's some French knots. They did like some people did like a woven wheel in the middle, and you just embroider it any way you want. But they've got some other really nice templates on there that are free too, and then you just trace them onto your fabric, and away you go. You stitch whatever you want to do, and you don't need anything fancy to do it. You don't need fancy fabrics. You don't need to buy like really expensive linen or whatever. Lots and lots of embroiderers buy flat sheets from supermarkets, so you can buy quite a big, I mean, even if you buy a flat sheet for a single bed that's a you know, a cotton one that's about £4. There's a lot of fabric in that, and they actually stitch really nicely. This, my fabric I'm using here, is a leftover, just a little scrap of fabric left over that was lining for project bags that I've made. So I like to use up every bit of fabric if I possibly can. I don't like throwing fabric and craft bits and bobs away, because I think it's so easy to put that stuff in landfill, isn't it? So, but luckily with crafts, there's usually something you can do with even the smallest little scrap. I mean, at worst you can use it as stuffing for something else, can't you? So yeah, really happy with that, and I will get on and finish that because it's quite a nice Christmassy thing, and I can use that as a Christmas decoration this year. I've got another Christmas embroidery that I did a few years ago that came with Love Embroidery magazine, and that's actually really nice. That was really nice too, but they printed with some quite thick white goo onto the fabric, and it was quite hard to get your needle through that, I found, and also quite hard to cover up unless you use a lot of thread. But it was fun though. So I've got quite a lot of whips, and they're not going to be the same whips that I showed you last month, because I got bored with doing them and had a whip around. I just, at the beginning, to be honest, at the beginning of the month, of every month, I have a bit of a changeover of the projects that I'm working on, so that I just don't get fed up with things. I'm trying to make an effort to actually finish more projects, because I have so many whips, and I really like having lots of whips because I like being able to chop and change on things. But I also, you know, I'm coming around to the idea that it's nice to finish things too. So, but I have had a change around because I was getting fed up with those things. But I'll show you, because some of these things have been around for a long time. Oh, this is a new cast on actually, because do you remember I finished those socks for the mister, and I'd bought him some more sock yarn when I was avoiding making him brown socks, the brown socks he wanted, and I keep making him grey socks. And I had bought this lovely sock yarn from Dragon Hill Studios, who are my favourite sock yarn people. And I can't remember what this colourway is because I've lost the little label. But it's this really lovely grey and this sort of muted gold. It's almost like an olive gold. I don't know how to describe it. It's somewhere between yellow and green, but it's very much on a grey tone. And I think that's going to be absolutely lovely. I'm doing him toe-up socks. Don't normally do him toe-up socks, but that's what I was in the mood to make. So yeah, it's just the first one. And I'm not really using... no, I am using... I was just going to lie and say I wasn't really using a pattern for that, but I'm a liar because I'm using another Louise Tilbrook design. And I think they're called... I'll put it on the screen when I'm editing, but I think it's called something like Easy Peasy Toe-Up Socks. It's something like that. But they're really good. They're really nice, clear. I really like her patterns. It's a really nice, clear pattern, and I like that you can try toe-up socks on as you go. The only thing that I find a little bit more difficult with those is I find the stretchy bind off on the cuff is I never seem to get that stretchy enough. So I'm going to have to practice that a bit before I get to the cuff on these. Well, when I get to the cuff on this one, I think I'm going to end up casting it off, putting it back, casting it off, putting it back until I get the effect that I like. I've tried the very stretch. There is one that's called the very stretchy bind off, and that's still not stretchy enough for me. So I think I'm going to probably have to do the thing of going up a needle size as well and doing that. Is it Judy's surprisingly stretchy cast off? Or it might be cast on. Hers is a cast on one, isn't it? Anyway, let's not get bogged down in detail. My second whip, this is a little bit crinkly. You'll have to forgive me, because it's in a very boring plastic bag. But that bag, the mister bought some cycling gear and it came in that, so now I'm using that bag as a project bag so it doesn't get wasted. And I might, but I'll swap this into a proper project bag when I sell something in my Etsy shop that needs to go in a bigger bag than my normal little poly bags. Then I'll put it in there and then wrap it in brown paper. This I don't think you're going to be able to see because the picture is white on white, which is not useful. This is from Natural Knits. I'm making a pair of wrist warmers in Shetland double knitting. Now, oh, you can see it. You can see that. Honestly, you can see that. You know, this is from, it's called Natural Knits, but I bought this from the Knitting Gift Shop, who you will see at every yarn fair in the land. And they do really nice stitch markers, and they often have like little patterns for small projects like this. So this is a yarn. It's natural wool from the north of England. It's a Shetland DK, just a 50-gram ball. It's this really nice tweedy brown colour. It does feel quite it's soft enough, but it's got a bit of a funny texture to it where it feels almost like an old-fashioned acrylic in a way. But I think it'll come good when they're done. It's got a very simple cable pattern, which I've literally only done the first cross over the cable, so you won't be able to see that. But when they're finished, you felt them a bit, which I haven't done before, so I'm a little bit nervous about that. But I mean, it was quite a cheap thing to buy, and I bought it several years ago, so I don't worry too much if I ruin it, because that money is long gone in my life. Do you ever feel like that? Like, I feel less like if I ruin something that I bought a long time ago, even though this is, you know, it's new because I'm only knitting it now, because I bought the kit such a long time ago, I feel like that's like old money, old forgotten. It doesn't really, it matters less to me now. I'd be really upset if I bought something straight away and ruined it. I'd be really miffed. But if enough time has gone between me buying it and actually ruining it, then it's not such a bad thing. It's like previous me bought that. Previous me's not here to get upset. Doesn't really make sense. I know it doesn't really make sense, but I don't really care. I don't really care. I'm sure you kind of know what I mean. Now I'll show you my temperature scarf, which is coming along very well, but it's so huge. Oh, I've just knocked my charger over, which might have knocked me off kilter a bit. Is it? No, I think we're getting away with that. Aren't we good? Now look, it absolutely fills up this rucksack. It shows you just how massive it is. It is massive. It's a DK yarn, Adriafil Mirage. I'm doing 4 rows a day, so 1 for in the back, so you get a complete stripe, garter ridge stripe, and I'm doing the lowest temperature of the day and the highest temperature of the day. But just to give you some idea, this is it tightly wound up. That's how big it is now. So here we are in, that's October. Every project stitch, progress keeper, not creeper, is the start of a new month. So that was October. There's quite a cold bit there. And then it warmed up again. And now we're into November, and this is all the rainy, the grey is all the rainy, drizzly, but with sort of spring-like days. And that was that one very cold night. And now we've gone back into some patches of warmer days, and then we went back into rainy, drizzly. And today, I haven't done today's one yet, but I suspect today's is going to be these sort of green and yellow, which is more like the spring-like, because down here we've got quite good weather today. We've got quite a sunny, bright day. I might leave that out because then I can do those. And you know, when I always do, because I work from home and I work part-time, so in the mornings I do my job, and in the afternoons I do, when that's finished, well, from mid-morning really onwards, I'm working on my stuff for my Etsy shop. So, but at 4 o'clock, everything stops with tipping point, and I knit my 4 rows on my temperature scarf, and I have chocolate biscuit and a cup of tea. Talking of tea, this is Yorkshire tea biscuit brew, which is my favourite tea at the moment. I can't get enough of that. Now, this is, I'm trying to work through the patterns I already own. So all the patterns that I own in Rawaguchi, I'm going from the bottom, the oldest, through to the newest, and I'm going to knit them and be done with it, because it's stupid to keep buying patterns all the time, but I've already got these patterns that at some point in my life I fell in love with, and then I just didn't make them. So I'm doing this one. To be honest though, I think I've chosen the wrong, I like the colours, but I don't think I'm not really feeling it on this shawl. I'm a bit off wearing shawls at the moment. I think just because it's not quite cold enough, and I've not worked out a really good way to store them in this house yet. So I think I need to have a bit of a clear out of things, and then once I've got my shawl storage sorted properly, then I can get at them easily, and I can wear them more, and I'll fall more in love with them. I'm wearing this one all the time at the moment. I was looking for that. This is my lavender field shawl, which is a Helen Stewart Designs shawl, and it's lace weight, but which meant it took me years to finish it, literally. But I really love it, and I wear it all the time now, always wearing it. And I wear the deep V at the back, and unless I'm wearing it under a coat, and then I put the big V at the front. Anyway, so I've gone off on a tangent. What I'm actually making is the Round Get Around shawl by CC Alman, who's Java Purl Designs. Now I can show you this bit because this doesn't actually show you any of the actual pattern, which is all colour coded and really quite easy to follow. But look, it's this nice, it's a mosaic knit. There, can you see that? That's better, isn't it? So it's a 2-colour design, and you basically, you could make it with any weight yarn really. I'm doing DK because the pattern says DK, but in truth it's a shawl, so as long as you adjust your needle size to fit your yarn, you can do as you like, because the yarn doesn't tell you, the pattern basically just says repeat. You get your pattern repeat, which is a 20 row repeat, which is actually, it's more than that, because there's some that you repeat the repeats. So it's actually, I think, more of a 20, maybe a 24 row repeat. But it's very, very easy to read your knitting and just keep going. So here's mine. Makes me think a little bit, although it far predates that, it makes me think a little bit of the Stephen West hexagons type shawls. This is going to be a big asymmetric shawl. The only thing I'm not massively keen on, I hope this is going to block out, is the edges are quite scruffy to me. So they've got this sort of stepped effect on one side though, which is quite like the hitchhiker, but this side I think is a bit on the old scruff bag side. So I'm hoping when I block that, then I can sort that out. But it's really easy. It's super easy, and you're only using, because it's mosaic knitting, you're only using 1 colour at a time, and I'm using these 2, and this is at this one is plain, and this one has got little sort of tweedy flecks and neps in it, which is really pretty. Really nice little bits of colour in there. And this is the Stylecraft Recreate. It's 100% recycled yarn. It's 40% wool and 30% acrylic and 30% polyester, and that's all recycled. So you get 350 metres for £4.50, and I bought mine at Seeded in Southsea down near Portsmouth. So yeah, it's all part of their reuse, recycle, recreate little promotion-y thing they've got going. And I'm using, well, this one is teal. It's called Teal, and this one is called Sky. So they're quite obvious, aren't they? Named for obvious reasons. And I've got mine in last year's Westnitz MCal project bag that you got, which is way too small to get a bloody great Stephen West 4 skein project in. So with that, I kind of feel like, what, I don't know, I feel like what was the point in doing that, in putting in a bag that for the project that you can't use for the project. So on this year's MCal, which I ended up not taking part in, I didn't even consider buying the extras, because I just don't know, I'd managed to talk myself out of buying yet more stuff that I don't really need. So I'm going to show you my embroidery now, the one that was sitting up there, because I've been looking around me like while I'm talking to you, thinking, where have I put that little mouse embroidery? Now this is my own design. It's a little mouse I'm embroidering. I'm doing thread painting, which means you do lots of long and short stitch, and then you just blend in colours as you go. Now you can see I'm using those friction pens to draw out my design, which you can remove. You can put a hairdryer on it, or you can iron it, and they disappear. Some people have said using those that the lines can reappear, but I mean, how cold does it need to be? Because I've removed lines and they've not reappeared, and I've put the embroidery in the fridge to see if it will reappear, because it was something I was going to sell, so I need to test it out, and it didn't reappear from being in the fridge. And apparently if you put it in a freezer, the lines can reappear, but it doesn't really get that cold here. I mean, it's not, your house isn't going to get like well below freezing, is it, enough for the line? And then once it warms up a bit, the lines will disappear again. So I don't know, I'm going to try the freezer thing with it, but I don't think, and I cover up my lines anyway with the stitching, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. But I just wanted to show you, because I change things as I go. So this mouse I drew without a towel, as if like his towel was curled up behind him, and then I thought, no, he's just missing something, so he's going to have a towel. I moved the position of his arms, and where I'd drawn just like 3 little spikes for his fingers, I've actually done like little hands and feet, which you can't really see here, but they've got detail on them, like they're jointed. And then around the, you definitely can't see this because I've drawn this very, very faintly with chalk, but he's going to sit on a little branch, and that branch is going to go off into a foliage theme, like all around him. He's not going to live in this bright pink plastic hoop forever. I'm just using that while I'm stitching him. He's going to, because that guideline shows you the extremity of how far out I can stitch to. So he's going to go into a smaller wooden hoop when he's done, but that's just what I'm using at the moment. And that's why you can see a little bit of puckering on there as well, because, can you, just a little bit, because I'm moving it around in the hoop quite a lot as I'm working on him. So when it's done, and stretched properly, you won't see any sort of lines or wobbles in the marks. But that is going to take me, I think, a few more weeks. I've been working on it for a couple of weeks already, where I've done like satin stitch for his ears, inside his ears and the outside of his ears. I'm going to go over those with some single threads to make them more sort of hairy looking, but I want to keep that sort of shininess of the inner ear, but I'm going to put some, as if there's like some little hairs sticking out in there. So you'll probably be seeing quite a bit more of him, because he's going to take me a long time. It's going to take me quite a long time to do, but I like him. And I've drawn, I had a bit of a, because you know I did that like expressive sketchbooks course, and then I got onto a bit of a, it gave me a bit of a spurt of making some embroidery design. So I've got about 10 embroidery designs waiting to be, for me to start stitching them, transferring them onto fabric and then start stitching them. So that's probably me sorted for embroideries for the whole of next year now. And if I really like the way they turn out, obviously I can repeat them and do them again and again, because they're my designs, and they will all end up in my Etsy shop at some point. I'm also thinking of doing some embroideries on project bags. Speaking of which, we'll quickly show you 2 project bags that I've made recently. They're one-offs, so they're using up fabric where I have hardly any of it left, and these ones are some of the fabrics. These are ones are like the final bits of that fabric. So I think I might have shown you this one before, but I've just updated the photos on Etsy, because the photos I had on there were absolutely awful. They were dark and I hadn't pressed the bag properly. So, well, I had pressed it properly, but then where I'd left it, I'd folded it up and put it away, and when I took it out again, it was a bit crumpled looking, and I was in a lazy mood and I didn't iron it again properly before I took the pictures of it. So the pictures on Etsy were absolutely dreadful, and obviously no one bought it because it looked like a crumpled bag. But here it is. It's a medium drawstring project bag, and this one has a nice bright cream lining, and that is actually the same, that is the fabric that embroidery is on, and I didn't even have enough of that fabric to put pockets in this. But I quite like a project bag that has no pockets, because sometimes the pockets get on my wick, because you put something in and it's gone in the pocket and you didn't mean it to, or you get your needle caught in there, or you're looking for something in the bag and you're sure it's in the pocket, and you're rummaging around and then you can't find it, and then is it in the other pocket, and you're rummaging there, you can't find it, and then you think, well, it must be loose in the bag. It's not loose in the bag, and you can look in the pocket again, and eventually you find it is in the pocket, but by then you're stressed. Anyway, so it's got this sort of beigey handle and a matching drawstring, and that's a medium, and that's in my Etsy shop ready to buy now. You can get up to 4 skeins of 4-ply yarn in there, maybe 2 skeins of DK. I don't know, it's quite roomy, it's deceptively roomy, but it's not so huge that it would feel cumbersome. Right, so you can use it, you could use it for a sock project, especially if you're using it in scrappy socks and you've got loads of little bits and bobs you want to chuck in. But I made that in a medium just because I had enough of that dotty fabric left to make a medium and nothing else. Now, I've made another colourful, this is my favourite fabric, the colourful cats. I love that so much. So here's the contrast yellow from the dotty bag, and I didn't have enough of that to do the contrast on the bottom. So the contrast on the bottom is this really lovely bright pink, which makes me very happy. That I always do a box bottom and I always do drawstring. And this has got a blue drawstring to kind of chime in with the blue cat. Sorry, puddly bum. Nice bright pink handle. And the lining is this lovely blue satin. And this one does have pockets. This has got 2 big pockets on the inside. you see that? It's actually curtain lining, that blue stuff, so it's pretty hard wearing. It looks, because it looks satiny, you think, oh blimey, that'll pull, and you know, your needle will scratch that and that'll fall to bits. But it's actually pretty tough stuff, and it's quite a nice strong colour, and even though, look, you can see through it a bit, which I think is quite cute. I quite like that. So yeah, just one of these as well. This is a medium with pockets, and they're both in my Etsy shop now, available to buy if you want them. I'm not going to show you too much more. I'm still working on that vintage bag I showed you before, the burgundy one. I'm not, because I'm undecided about what I'm going to do with it. I'm tempted to do something different with it than the pattern suggests, because I'm not sure about getting hold of the handles for it. But so we'll come back to that when I've had a bit of a better think. So instead, I'll show you. I'm not making massive progress on this either. This is the hooded scarf I'm making from a 1940s pattern. So you basically do the scarf bit, then you increase, and then that gets sewn up at the back. So you've actually got it all. You wear it over your head, and then you've got like a short scarf. And it's gonna be super nice, but it's all rib. The whole thing is rib. So that takes quite a lot of time for me to do, because and I'm using Norwegian Purl for it, so it's faster than it would otherwise be, but it's 4-ply and purling, ribbing all the way, and for me that makes it quite a long project. So you'll probably see, I might not get that out again to show you until it's finished, because otherwise it's quite boring. It's just a long strip, isn't it? A long strip of pink ribbing, and I suspect there's limited patience for looking at that sort of thing. Now these are my current Strictly socks. Now the socks I made for the mister before, remember the brown stripy ones, that was my first pair of Strictly socks. This is my second pair, and these ones are for me. And these are toe-up socks using that same Louise Tilbrook pattern. And these are the West Yorkshire Spinners Fairy Lights, because they're all sparkly. They've got silver sparkle in. So I finished that button. I really love the roll top from Jelly Roll socks, or what have you. I think that looks super cute with Vans, or I know I wear DM shoes quite like in the winter, and that looks super cute popping over the top. And I still have that issue where my cast off isn't stretchy enough. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about that. But I really like in this pattern the gusset's really easy, because you're not like picking up stitches or anything in it, and I feel like it looks much neater. So I've cast on its little friend, I've already turned the heel, and I'm going up the leg, so I don't have an awful lot more to do with that, and then I'll have my second pair of Strictly socks done, which would be amazing. I must spend more time on the Ravelry chat for that, because when you're watching Ali's Little Drops Wonderful podcast, she's always sort of like laughing about how much fun it is on there, and I never seem to get around to it. Right, last whip, and then I'm going to show you a couple of patterns, vintage patterns, that I'm sort of itching to cast on. Now I think I've shown you this before. I'd like opinions on this really, because I'm in two minds whether to carry on with it or not, which is ridiculous because I've nearly finished one side. This is the Purl Soho half and half wrap. And mine seems to be absolutely giant, much bigger than everyone else's. I don't understand it. And I seem to be using a lot more yarn than the pants. So I'm obviously, but the yarn I'm using is different. It's a cotton yarn. it's a Rico cotton yarn. But I don't know what to do. It's sparkly, so it's a lovely thing. But I'm not sure because I've only got this much and one other 50 gram ball left to finish it. And I think I've got another, see these are all the stitches that I still need to decrease. Oh no, they're the ones I have decreased, sorry. This is what I've still got left to go. And that's about 100, I've got about 120 more rows of decreasing to do. So I think if I run out of this yarn before I finish this half, I'm going to frog the whole thing. Because it's cost quite a lot of money to make, because I've had to keep buying extra yarn to work on it. I'm sure the mistake's mine. It's the it's Adriafil. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce it. Rugiada. That's what we're going with. Anyway, it's not the cheapest thing in the world. And what I should have done was bought 2 cones of yarn from Woolly Knit and just knit it from 2 cones. But I didn't, because when I first saw this yarn, it was at Unravel, and it was from a shop where they had quite a lot of it in a sale basket. And I saw it and I thought, oh, and we pulled up the pattern and we worked it out, the meterage and everything, and I bought the yarn there and I had plenty to finish it. But then as I've knitted it according to the pattern, I had plenty because I bought an extra ball of each. But then since then I've had to buy another 3 or 4 balls of each colour, which doesn't seem right, does it? And it's really heavy as well, so I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. Don't know. I do quite like it because it's just sort of mindless garter stitch knitting, but it's now become one of those projects where it's been hanging around for so long that I'm not sure I even am that much in love with it anymore. So that's a bit awkward, isn't it? So yeah, that's it. That's it for whips. Very quickly, I've got 3 vintage patterns I'm kind of dying to cast on. Winter themed. This hat, which you put an Alice band in to make it sit on your head nicely, and that little cap, so cute, and they'll be quite easy. This pom-pom scarf, which you knit on huge needles, and you've got this lovely lacy thing. I think that'd be quite lovely too. And then, oh no, I've got quite a few more. There's this this hat that I'm not that keen on, but there's this one which is really cute. It's another one of those ones that you put an Alice band in. And this one here, which I absolutely love, and that's the one I'm dying to. It's got this nice effect at the back, swirly whirly. I love that. I really want to make that, but I think that's, what size is that? Is that double knit? Yes, it's double knit. Ooh, so that'd be quite easy. We've got those 2 fagging it at the bottom. Right, so that's all that. All I've got left to do now is tell you, I've read 3 books since I saw you last. I've read Before the Coffee Gets Cold by, he's a Japanese writer, so apologies if I'm butchering the name. Toshikazu Rawaguchi. Toshikazu Rawaguchi, possibly is his name. It's translated from the Japanese. It's a good book. It's about it's like a cafe in Japan where you can travel back in time. You can't change anything, but you can go back. And it's about the people that choose to do that. It's all like kind of rules that make it very off-putting to actually try it, but several people do. That's quite good. It's quite hard to get my head around the Japanese way of sentence construction kind of stuff, and some of the cultural differences, especially relationships between husband and wife. I found quite difficult because I felt like she should be standing up for herself more, or should tell him where to go. But it's maybe, I don't know when it was published, maybe it's of its time, but yeah, without this being too much of a spoiler, suffice to say, if you gave me a hanky for my birthday and then threw a strop over it, I don't know how long that relationship would last. But I've also read, that was called Before the Coffee Gets Cold, so that's one of the things about the rules for when you travel back in time. You have to drink your coffee before it goes cold, otherwise you get kind of cursed. Anyway, I'm also reading Dear Mrs. Bird by A.J. Pearce. That's really good. It's set in World War II. It's about a young woman who takes a job. She thinks she's taking a job as a junior journalist for a newspaper, but there's a bit of a mess up in the interview and they don't really explain it to her, and it turns out she's actually working for the agony aunt of a failing women's magazine, and this woman's a complete dragon. So, and that's quite good. I've only just started it though, but I'm really enjoying that. I'm still reading Sarah Waters' The Little Stranger. I'm down to the last 50 pages. I love Sarah Waters, and this is a cracking book. It says it's like a creepy book, but it's not that bad. It's not a scare. I hate horror. I can't read anything like that because it puts the wind up me. So it's more eerie, maybe. I don't know. It's not a scary book. But it's really good. And I can't really imagine how it's going to end. There's always a character with Sarah Waters' books where you're not really sure whether they're a good guy or a bad guy or how it's going to go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing that one, but I'm only getting a chance to read about 4 or 5 pages a day of it at the moment, so not a lot of progress, but not through not because I don't want to read it, but more than anything really, kind of it'd be more the other way, that I kind of want it to last a bit longer because it's really good. And we went to, I did a little workshop in the local library. It was a freebie. She sort of ties in with this, where you were making these paper birds, and you sort of decoupage paper birds, and they're going to go into an exhibition at Farnborough Library next year. But in the meantime, like you went to this thing, and then you could make, you had time to make 2 just about, and you took one home and you donated one, or you could just take more home if you wanted, however you felt. But I left one and took one home with me. And then we went to the Peace Doves exhibition at Chichester Cathedral, which is closed now, and that was really pretty, and I love Chichester. But before that, we went for a guided tour of Fishbourne Roman Palace in the village of Fishbourne, which is in West Sussex, and that I cannot recommend enough. It was absolutely brilliant. But we booked a tour through the Spring in Havant. There's a chap that does guided walks there whose name is Nigel, and I can't recommend him enough. If you want to go to Fishbourne Palace, it's got a nice little tea room as well, so, and the coffee's nice, so I would recommend it. But we got so much more out of it by having the tour than we would have had just going on our own, because we would have just walked through there and gone, oh, that's nice, that's nice. But he so brought it to life and told you so many really cool facts and extra little bits and bobs that he really made it. We absolutely loved it. Then we went on to Chichester. We went and had a little squiz at the Peace Doves, which was really pretty. And I love Chichester Cathedral. It's such a nice place. And then we had a quick little whiz around Chichester, which is a super nice town. And it was just about warm enough. We went to Splits Sandwich Bar, proper old school sandwich bar where, you know, they make the sandwiches in front of you, and we sat outside. We were able to sit outside on a bench and eat our rolls, and it was absolutely lovely. So that is it. That is it for me. I don't know whether you'll see those same projects again next time I see you. We will see the embroidery again, but I don't know. If anyone can give me, I don't know what to do about that half and half shawl. Really not sure. And I just feel like it's heavy already. So when I've made the other half of it, it's going to be super heavy. So will I even like it? I like the colours. I like the thing. Anyway, I guess I'll work that out when, if I don't have enough yarn for it, that will decide it, won't it? But yeah, if you've made one, drop me a line. Let me know if you had moments of doubt when you were making it. I wonder if it's, when it's a long project, maybe you kind of, I think I lose heart halfway through things because I can't see the finish line. Anyway, I've waffled on enough, haven't I? We both agree on that. So I'm going to let you go. It was lovely talking to you, and I hope I'll see you again soon. Lulu's fast asleep here. I don't know how she's managing it with me waffling on like that, but time for me to put the kettle on, I think. I'll see you. Bye bye.